Welcome to the black metal party that never stops. This is One on One with the Grim One, and I'm your host, the John Rivers of heavy metal, the most electrifying man in corpse entertainment, the Necrosexual. And joining me on this most morbid talk, we have the bad boy of Disney Plus. Please welcome Jake Cannavale. How the hell are you, Paisan?
Oh, so fucking good, my dude. How you doing?
I feel grim.
That's what I like to hear, Necro. Good to be here.
Good to be here in my lair, although it's all the perverts watching at home. It should be noted that I did spend a few memorable evenings on your living room couch. So, the good times, grim times. We'll talk about those a little bit more in our discussion. But first order of business, the highest order. This is one-on-one with the Grim One. So that means that each week we take a minute or two with our guests to do a deep dive into one album that holds a special place in their heart. So Jake, give it to me, baby. Tell me about the album that changed your life.
One of the most underrated metal records of all time, and in my opinion, the greatest metal album of the 90s was City by Strapping Young Lad. Easy. This album simultaneously, I had never met someone. It was up until I heard Strapping for the first time, specifically City. The angriest voice I had ever heard was Phil Anselmo in Pantera. Like at that point, he was the only one that wasn't just screaming to sound cool. He was actually pissed off. And then I heard Devin, and it was all the anger, but it also had that vulnerability that Phil lacked, everyone's got their opinion, but like, Phil was always so aggressive, and Devin was actually like, it was an actual cry for help. Like you listen to Spirituality, like that shit's a suicide note, man. Like it was just, I'm all over the place. I've been so excited to talk about how much I love this record that now I can't remember any of the things that I was gonna say. You know how it is.
That's all right, baby. Let's start off with where you heard it for the first time.
The first time I heard Strapping, I had to be in high school. I was in let me think. Yeah, I probably was in like my junior year of high school, and I had heard Devin Townsend's solo for the first time. And I immediately was like, oh, wait, he was the guy from Strapping Young Lad. They did that song, You Suck, that I thought was really funny. And I went down this rabbit hole. And, man, I was 16. Like, from one grim one to another. We go through those sad, angsty teenage years. And I was pissed off and didn't know how to communicate. So City was, when I heard it, I was home alone in my loft bed, and I had to sing my phone because I remember I was actually busted because I was skipping my community service class. And so my dad took my phone away. So I was listening to City as an act of rebellion. And I remember just being blown away that somebody got how great it was, how frustrating it is to be awesome and have no one realize it and not feel like shit for it, if that makes sense.
A cry of unrecognized greatness.
And he knew he was dope, and he was just like, everyone else is dumb. And I had never experienced that level of thought before. It was always like, oh, I'm fucked up, and, the world has to suffer me. And Devin was just like, no, I'm depressed and angry and pissed off, and it's the world's fucking problem. And I don't know, that was, it was what I needed to hear when I was 16. So still to this day, I love that record.
A guy like Devin Townsend who was rocking a serious skullet, you know that you're in for some heavy, dark shit when you see somebody with
I like to think that he was just taller than his hair.
And on that record, you also had Gene Hoglan, Atomic Clock, who had also laid down drums in Testament, Death.
Oh yeah,
that
was the first record he did with Strapping, because that was their first record as a live band. So yeah, I can't snub that dude. He's out just as responsible as Debbie was for that shit. I mean, it was perfect. What I loved about that record too, just sonically, it was so obnoxiously in your face and loud. Like it's still to this day, it sounds louder than any other record because Devin just wall of sounded the shit out of it. And I was thinking about this recently. It almost sounds like chronologically, it sounds like a huge tantrum. Like he starts off with an intro that's obnoxious as shit. It's a clock, and then boom, and then a song about being better than everyone, and then gets even angrier for the third track, Oh My Fucking God. And then he gets a little more focused with detox and home nucleonics, and then simmers down for AAA and the whatever cover it was, the Cop Shoot Cop cover, and then ends with the spilling guts that is spirituality. It just sort of all in my mind just was like one huge freak out. It was almost like a monologue. I was obsessed.
I'd imagine having your start being the vocalist for Steve Vai, and
Steve
then
Vai, at 19 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then like he was just he got his dream job and hated it so much that he started one of the greatest metal bands of all time.
Yeah.
Like how mad do you have to get for that to happen?
Right. So did you ever see Strapping Young Lad or Devin Townsend in concerto?
Dude, never, man. Still to this day. I missed Devi when he came to New York with Gojira. I was in Boston at the time. I couldn't make it. And then, I was born in 95. So like, Strapping broke up in 2006. I didn't know enough back then. That was when I was just starting to get into metal. So
yeah,
my body and mind wasn't ready yet for the fury that was Strapping Young Lad.
What's great about Vixen Moss is if you play it over the opening sequence of the Muppet Show, it totally syncs up.
Hell yes, Necro. Absolutely. I'm actually going to try that now. Rubber Hose Animation, which was like big in the 30s and shit, like Fleischer and like, old Disney, like Steamboat Mickey and shit. That, that related to like grindcore for me. I don't know why, just in my head, it clicked as a perfect combination. I was like, oh, cartoons are just it's just an obnoxious reflection of life. As is grindcore. I don't know, it just sort of made sense. And now the two are just inseparable. It's part of the aesthetic. I can't change it. I'm a slave at this point.
You mentioned Strapping Young Lad being angry but also vulnerable. So is that something that you've taken as a musician, or should I say creative director? Showing that.
Hell yeah. I mean, yes, as the creative director, it's important to me that I can get my shit out there and expose myself, but still be in control. And how that translates for me is say what you would say in therapy, but scream it into their fucking face like it's your worst enemy.
So what's your secret for delivering those skin-charring shrieks from the dark side?
Whew. To be honest, there's a few. So one of them, I'm not going to lie, Bushmills whiskey. It's the only whiskey that's cheaply harsh enough to get my vocals irritated and smooth at the same time. And then honestly, man, it's just a matter of saving my shit. I plan out ahead when I need the real shrieks and the real growls, and when I can hit a sort of, I don't want to say lukewarm, but my vocal coach for my normal people singing always says, like, you never want to go to 10 until it's the end of the show, and that was always my problem. I was always trying to sing at 10. So I plan out when I'm in the studio, like, when I'm going to be screaming at a 10 and when I'm going to be screaming at like a bass of 7, And yeah, in terms of vocal warm-ups, man, I mean, I just gotta, I got my techniques and all, but for the most part, I rely on me writing shit that needs to be screamed, if that makes sense.
Do you have a favorite Vixen Moss song that people should drop all their shit right now and listen to?
Oh shit. I mean, besides all of them, yeah. I would say either, I'm torn. My two favorite Vixen Moss songs are In the Harpy's Nest, which is the closing track off of our latest record, Hallelujah Anxiety, and the third track of our demo, the fucking classic, which is called Slave Angel's Revenge. That is, Slave Angel's Revenge is definitely probably our heaviest song with In the Harpy's Nest, yeah. I've got both breakdowns playing in my head right now. I can't decide which one's going to drive me insane first.
So what was one show that gave you a throbbing heavy metal hard on?
The last show that I truly had a heart ejaculation for was when I saw Zeal and Ardor at the Music Hall of Williamsburg. I think that was like 2 years ago. It was, I don't know if you're a fan, but they released their first album in 2018, their first album as a full band, and there was their first real tour. Like, they had played Vitus once, but they had never toured before, so It was, hometown show. The dude's a New Yorker, and he played every track from the first 2 records in a, perfect set list order. And it was so cool witnessing an artist that is an actual fresh voice in heavy music, which is so goddamn rare these days. I think I speak for both of us. And like, it was the kind of show that you could tell when he's an established household name in the metal community, people are going to look back on this tour. Like, the dude just fucking brought it. There's no other way to say it. It was insane. It was also very refreshing, I will say, like, when you're a metalhead, it's let's be real, it's a lot of fucking white dudes. So it was actually really cool that, like, in an actual heavy metal show, the pit was like black as fuck.
Recently, you got your big break. You finally touched a little bit of the spotlight. I'm, of course, talking about your appearance on Year of the Cock music video by the band Cougar.
Obviously, dude. Hell yes.
Welcome to the big time, baby.
It feels good, man. It feels good.
The pharaoh of midlife crisis metal. So for all you people watching at home, you can see Jake in the Year of the Cock music video by the band Cougar, a band that I've also played bass in on occasions.
I was about to say, Necro, I'm pretty sure you look kind of like a guy that was in that video.
Yeah, right. I wasn't in the video.
Let's talk about that video.
Yeah, all right. And what else am I forgetting? Oh, yeah, The Mandalorian. You're in that show, too.
I was? Oh, yeah, I was.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that was fun. They say that the camera adds 10 pounds. But what the camera can't do is hide a raging hard-on that comes from sitting at Han Solo's booth. I'll tell you that.
Right.
Yeah, dude, that was. I mean, I don't know how to say it. It was the best 2 weeks of my life, man. Like,
yeah.
Like I'm in the galaxy. I'm in that galaxy far, far away. I was working with my dude Brendan, who is he's the guy under the helmet, and I'm a huge Clutch fan. It's one of my all-time favorite bands. And in the Clutch community, there's this little inside joke that Clutch would be Han Solo's favorite band. So I was like, dude, like, you're the Mandalorian, like, you're a goddamn bounty hunter. You need to be listening to Clutch. And I remember on the day we were filming, we did all the speeder filming in one day. And on that day, Brent comes up to me and he goes, dude, I'm obsessed with Clutch. They're my new favorite band. And now he's been listening to them, but like, he's been playing them at home to the point that his wife now knows all of the lyrics to every Clutch song. And yeah, definitely a proud moment.
That was one thing I was wondering. I was like, is that really Pedro Pascal in this whole show? Because it could be like any schmuck beneath that helmet, or it's just like 12 different stuntmen that all have the same build.
It was actually me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was acting alongside myself.
Yeah. So when you were on location, were you like in the desert, or like I hear that they came up with some crazy like LED backdrop thing?
Well, come on, Necro. We were on Tatooine.
On Tatooine, yeah.
Get your shit together. But I know. So basically, it was and I know that there are tech people that are going to be so mad at me for this explanation. But basically, how I was explained, because I'm a little below the bar. It's like a whole green screen thing, and each pixel can be manipulated digitally. So they have one practical prop, like one main thing they actually build, and the rest is just a wall with a room full of nerds on computers programming a fucking background. Like, I remember at one point when I was in the shipyard with with Mando's ship, the Razor Crest, the camera like wasn't picking up the background right. We're like in the way of a beam. So John Favreau, you might know him as John Favreau. I call him John. He full on asked to just move the background over, and they just did that shit. Like, they full on just like hit a couple keys and it went boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. We just dragged that a little bit. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, right. That's where we are, like, movie wise now. It's insane to me.
And Mickey Mouse money, and of course, my favorite forays into the Star Wars universe actually happened in your living room a couple times, and I crashed at your house, and we got to watch Revenge of the Sith, as well as a separate occasion I watched The Rise of Skywalker. And let me tell you, if there's 2 movies that make you cheer for the bad guys, it's both of those films.
Very, very true. Yeah. I mean, goddamn Ian McDermott. He's the hero. He's the goddamn he's the crown jewel of the Star Wars movies, in my opinion.
So, Jake, what do you have in the future that you're excited about, musically, theatrically, personally? Give it to us, baby.
So, shit. Acting wise, I got some signings coming up. I'm going to be at Smoky Mountain Fest in Tennessee this summer. Very excited for that. Never been to Tennessee. Should be cool. Although I did just hear that like they got a national park over there where people get kidnapped and eaten. So I'm just going to stay away from there. Musically, though, I'm very excited. It's a big year for Vixen Mall. We got 3, possibly 4 splits coming out with some bands from the UK, Slab Dragger, Wallowing. We got a split with Thin, fellow New Yorkers. We got a split with No Coffin from Miami. And we have a split coming out with Misha, which is another brand new grindcore band from New York as well. And this summer we're going to be writing and recording our debut full-length LP shit. So that'll be out by the end of this year. Very excited. I do a lot better in life mentally and emotionally when I am screaming into microphones or taking steps to scream in microphones. And shit, man, other than that, it's just, back to the old grind, auditioning and hope I land some shit.
Back to the grind. Well, I wish you all the fortune and a little bit of sleaze on your climb to the top. And what do you want to say to all the perverts out there watching you, Jake?
To all the perverts watching me, keep that shit to yourself, because as soon as it becomes cool, it stops being sexy.
Ooh, that's pretty deep. Thank you, Jake, for going one-on-one with the Grim One. Check out his band, Vixen Mall, and scream your fucking heart out and be vulnerable.
If it's scary or uncomfortable, that means you're doing it fucking right. That's the only advice I could give.
Thank you. This has been another transmission of One-on-One with the Grim One. I am the Necrosexual, and I will see you in hell. Ooh.